I was gonna say the element that you may have made me care so much that recklessness did cost her life. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we are back with another episode of Madoka Magica. First things first, we have a tiny little comment from Henry from the Patreon from the episode Miracles and Magic Are Real. Very brief appearance, but this witch was Kristen. Okay, I mean, characters we don't know. I mean, unless those are fake names, right? Unless that's the equivalent of in Durarara, the uh, the names that show up on the message board, which are analogous to characters, but are not themselves character names. I got no clue. Otherwise, though, we do have a board, and I can't promise there's going to be much difference between this board and last board. Yeah, except for, of course, one added character. With the board, though, we do have the board change log, which is to say I note the things I changed in case you don't see any changes, which is I added the new magical girl, Kyoko. Obviously, green line to QB because she's talking to QB in a well-known style, I guess. Not well-known, in a style that depicts that they know each other. And a red line between her and Sayaka because she says she needs to beat her up to take her territory. That is an antagonistic relationship at best. Alright, that said though, I do have notes. The witches we know so far: Gertrude, Charlotte, Kristen. I don't know what the purpose behind their names, if they're just one-off characters. But otherwise, those are the names that Henry has given us so far. So, I'm just keeping track. The way Sayaka says that it should have been her instead of I think it's Kamijo. Sorry, I never said his name right. I guess now is not going to be the first time. Almost makes me think that she was involved in whatever happened to him, or to cause him to be in such state. But thinking back to her watching him play as a younger child, I feel like it's just a statement of obsession. That as a fan, that this is her being obsessed with him. She would have traded places with him due to that obsession. Clearly, despite opining that her own hands are useless, she doesn't wish to be a prodigy herself. So it isn't envy that she is feeling. Where are the future Sakya thoughts coming from? We've had the future visions from episode 1. I don't believe Sayaka was there. This implies that at a future point, Sayaka is going to think back to this moment and lament about the price that she paid. Something I didn't notice till now: the opening ends with Madoka, Sayaka, and Mami all sitting on top of a tower together as magical girls. Mami died before Sakya became one, and Madoka isn't one yet. On top of that, the cat I mentioned last time is also there in Sakya's arms. A cat that only Madoka is holding through the rest of the opening. Got no notes about Kyobi being in Madoka's lap, as per all my previous Kyobi notes. This either implies that the ending is going to be okay, or that the entire opening is a lie. Look, I don't know what Madoka's family thinks is going on, because we transition away from the breakfast tears before anything else can be said. But considering how together and strong this family is, I'm surprised Dad didn't pull Madoka aside and suggest taking a mental health day to try and deal with whatever's going on. As it feels like it's more than just middle school drama, considering the setup episodes showing these people's day-to-day lives so far. Kyobi's willingness to bail when it seems like no one is going to make a wish really feels more like that predator motif that I was describing before. Like, Kyobi feeds off whatever is involved in granting wishes, and will move on to new prey if its current target isn't panning out. It's odd that other magical girls would come to this territory to hunt witches now that Mammy is gone. I mean that in the sense of if Mammy had territory, that seems to imply that all magical girls have territory. So why would you leave your own territory to find another? That would imply that you are not just protecting an area and its people against witches. For some reason my enunciation is failing there too. But are actively being encouraged to collect grief seeds for something beyond just the benefit of putting down witches. Without representation of what the grief seeds actually give the magical girl, beyond whatever Mammy was implying, I can only guess that the wish that they can go away with time unless being refreshed by the grief seeds. And that's why they constantly have to hunt down witches. Even those that don't have harm the people and the area that they cared about. The more invested you are in your wish, the more you pursue it. Mammy, ironically, is the one that makes me think I might be wrong, though, as her wish seems to have been to live, and then she died. But Akemi says, we don't fight to protect people, we fight for the sake of our own wishes. So, reinforcing that, making me think I am right. Look, I could be harping on about a theory that will never be true, but if my idea about the time loop is right, when Madoka asks Akemi about if she's seen a lot of people die, like yesterday, and all Akemi says is yes, it could be because she remembers that yesterday as having happened so many times before. Heck, she could be reflecting on the fact that she's been in a time loop for a while by saying that so many that I've lost count line. It feels like the horror of this world is that your death will go unnoticed and you will be forgotten, but I see no reason that it has to be that way. Kyobi never mentions that you can't go public with what you do. Sure, you paint a target on your back to any witch that wants to come after you, but it doesn't exactly feel like the magical girls are doing their best to hide themselves either. I feel like all it would take is one social media influencer to become a magical girl, and all this stuff would be all over the internet. In that way, if you vanished, you would still be remembered and people wouldn't think you just disappeared. That kindness can bring forth an even greater sadness, Akemi says. I feel like that either implies a sacrifice that Madoka will make in the future, or a wish that causes things to become worse. Look at that. In a moment of despair, Kyobi shows up, waiting to grant a wish, like the predator I keep calling him. I'm not exactly sure. Didn't we only kill the familiar of the witch that tried to make that one woman off herself on the building? If so, then maybe this one is the witch herself trying to make everyone death cult together. Tangential thought, but if we are killing their familiars, isn't that essentially the same as killing their friends? And my last thought here. It seems rather odd that another witch's labyrinth would show Madoka images of Mammy's death specifically, unless the point of said labyrinth was just despair, like all the people outside were feeling, and it wasn't specifically imagery that the witch had, but Madoka's own thoughts. Like I said, those are my notes. Those are the thoughts I'm going into this episode with. So I say, let's go ahead and hop on in and see what we get.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Because remember, Sayaka made her wish, and then we saw this guy moving his fingers.
じゃあいいんだね。うん、やって。
Oh, weird. I brought up this whole thing about shadows before, and they focused on a shadow in the background. Just accept it. Oh, the egg thing. But what does that imply? Sorry, the element of the shadow version of her falling behind and hitting the ground. But then the another version of her still in the air catching the egg. Wait, does that imply that the witches are them? Sorry, just a thought that popped in my head. Is it like splitting them in two? You remember the ancient one from Marvel? Who could push your versions of your soul out of your body with a touch, giving you different perspectives on reality? So, I guess, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how that would work, right? So are they hunting for witches? I mean, that would also figure out why there's two Madokas in the opening, right? One of these is Witch Madoka, and one of these is Magic Girl Madoka, and they're hunting each other down for all eternity. But then, I'm trying to parse this together with my whole what's the grief seed thing about, because we still haven't figured out what the reward is. Because, you know, all we saw is Mammy pulled darkness out of her egg, and it went into the grief seed. It's definitely going to be noteworthy, unless they explain it in the episode.
どうしたのよ、ひとみ。寝不足？ゆうべは病院やら警察やらで夜遅くまで。何かあったの？何度か私、無遊病っていうの。
Okay, so she doesn't exactly remember.
症状の方が大勢いて、気がついたら。
But it also implies that they don't know Madoka was there.
何それ？お医者様
Or, you know, Sayaka, of course.
今日も放課後に精密検査に行かなくてはなりませんの。はあ、めんどくさいわ。そんなことなら学校休んじゃえばいいのに。ダメですわ。それではまるで本当に病気みたいで。
I guess that serves to make her busy while we focus on Sayaka and Madoka. In the out-of-school stuff, I mean. That felt like a very specific shot. Are they implying that she's the shadow? Also, she had a ring on her finger, the same way Mammy did.
もしかしたらまどかとひとみ友達2人も同時に亡くしてたかもしれないって。そっちの方がよっぽど怖いよね。だからなんつうかな、自信、安心感、ちょっと自分を褒めちゃいたい気分つうかね。まあ舞い上がっちゃってますね、私。
I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting to see how this wish blows up in her face. Oh, and of course that other girl that just wants to beat her up to push her out of being a magical girl.
どうせだったらもうちょっと早く心を決めるべきだったなって。あの時の魔女、私と二人がかりで戦ってたら。
Or, you know, if you had let Akami go and do it. Again, the element that they keep forgetting to mention Akami as being even around, I feel to be weird.
なっちゃった後だから言えるの、こういうことは。どうせならっていうのがミソなのよ。私はさ、 なるべくして魔法少女になったわけ。さやかちゃん。
I mean, it could be.
見つけたんだもの。
But then again, I would blame Kyobi for manipulating Destiny if that was the
そう思え
case.
るだけの理由があったの。そう気づくのが遅すぎたっていうのがちょっと悔しいだけでさ。だから引け目なんて感じなくていいんだよ。マドカは魔法少女にならずに済んだっていう、ただそれだけのことなんだから。さてと、じゃあそろそろ私は行かないと。何か用事があるの？まあちょっとね。
Also kind of feels like being a magical girl is a pyramid
そっ
scheme.
か、退院はまだなんだ。
足のリハビリがまだ済んでないしね。ちゃんと歩けるようになってからでないと。手の方も一体どうして急に治ったのか全く理由がわからないんだってさ。だからもうしばらく精密検査がいるんだって。
あ、京介自身はどうなの？どっか体におかしなとこある？
いや、なさす
I
ぎ
mean, you don't get any more wishes, so.
事故にあったのさえ悪い夢だったみたいに思えてくる。なんで僕こんなベッドに寝てるのかなって。さやかが言った通り奇跡だよね。
So I'm guessing her wish must have been, I wish he could play like he used to. Because it wasn't, I wish he was fully healed or something.
さやかにはひどいこと言っちゃったよね。いくら気がめいってたとはいえ。
変なこと思い出さなくていいの。今の京介は大喜びして当然なんだから。そんな顔しちゃダメだよ。
うん、なんだか実感なくてさ。
まあ無理もないよね。あ、そろそろかな。京介、ちょっと外の空気吸いに行こう。
I'm thinking very specifically
屋上なんか
that she didn't give her wish any
いいから
thought.
いいから。
And that's probably going to be the source of her frustration. You know, again, other than the other girl who's coming to beat the crap out of her.
みんな。
本当のお祝いは退院してからなんだけど、足より先に手が治っちゃったしね。
それは
お前からは処分してくれと言われていたが、どうしても捨てられなかった。
Surprising, given that you were the ones who were telling him to abandon all hope.
さあ、試してごらん。怖がらなくていい。
For a minute there, I thought he was going to reject it. Because it kind of felt like he was building up to realizing that his whole life wasn't about this one thing anymore. Here's my thing, is I already tried to analyze what songs they were listening to before back in the hospital room. There's no way I'm going to be able to identify this.
私の願い叶ったよ。後悔なんてあるわけない。私今最高に幸せだよ。
I mean, it's more impressive that the song is continuing to play after you put the instrument down.
ふ
A
ーん、
weird road system.
あれがこの町の新しい魔法少女ね。本当に彼女とことを構える気かい？だってちょろそうじゃん。瞬殺っしょ、あんなやつ。それとも何？
Sorry, have we gone from beating the crap out of her to killing her?
あんた、すべて君の思い通りに行くとは限らないよ。この町にはもう一人魔法少女がいるからね。へえ、何者なのそいつ。僕にもよくわからない。はあ？
How do you not know?
そいつだってあんたと契約して魔法少女になったんでしょ。そうとも言えるし、違うとも言える。あの子は極めつけのイレギュラーだ。どういう行動に出るか。
I mean, unless she made a contract in the future and then got sent back into the past, like I said. I mean, that's gonna be frustrating, like as a wish giver, having to deal with future use stuff without knowing.
結構すぐ人と喧嘩しちゃったり。でもね、すごくいい子なの。優しくて勇気があって、誰かのためと思ったら頑張りすぎちゃって。魔法少女としては致命的ね。そうなの。
And one could argue that you made,
万有は油断になる。そして、どんな献身にも見返りなんてない。それをわきまえていなければ。
huh, the ring finger also has that little thing on her fingernail. I was gonna say the element that you may have made me care so much that recklessness did cost her her life.
ミキさやかのことが心配なのね。私じゃもうさやかちゃんの力になってあげられないから。
I mean, to be fair, warned you in episode 1. Although she warned her that if she got powers, that she would lose everybody.
魔女をやっつける時もみんなで協力して戦えばずっと安全なはずだよね。私は嘘はつきたくないし、できもしない約束もしたくない。だからミキさやかのことは諦めて。
I feel like Akemi can only protect Madoka.
あの子は契約すべきじゃなかった。確かに私のミスよ。あなただけでなく、彼女もきちんと監視しておくべきだった。なら、でも責任を認めた上で。
I hope that if I am right,
今となってはどうやっても償いきれないミスなの。
that this is a time loop situation.
帰ってこないのと同じこと。
I mean, you could do that with a wish. Wishes can barely do anything.
もう救われる望みなんてない。あの契約はたった一つの希望と引き換えに。
I mean, that if this is a time loop situation, that we get to see the original timeline more than just that first episode thing.
自分のことも他の子のことも全部。ええ。罪滅ぼしなんて言い訳はしないわ。私はどんな罪を背負おうと、私の戦いを続けなきゃならない。 時間を無駄にさせたわね。ごめんなさい。
It also just feels like that if Kemi is really doing her damnedest to save Madoka, she's staying as far away from her as possible.
緊張してるのかい？まあね。一つ間違えたらおだぶつなわけだし。まどか。さやかちゃん、これからそう、悪い魔女を探してパトロール。これも正義の味方の務めだからね。一人で平気なの？平気平気。マミさん。
I think it's also dangerous by the fact that she's defining herself by giving her rules of what needs to be done. Like a hero would do this, right? 行けるところまで一緒に連れてってもらえたらって。頑張りすぎじゃない？ごめん、ダメだよね。迷惑だってのは分かってたの。I mean, to be fair, you wouldn't want to just be around one day and Sayaka not show up and then be worried for the rest of your life that she died in someplace you didn't see. もう魔法少女だったのに、一人だと心細いなんてさ。さやかちゃん。邪魔なんかじゃない。すごく嬉しい。
誰かが一緒にいてくれるだけですっごく心強いよ。それこそ100人力って
Of course, at the same time, having somebody around that you need to protect in an emergency situation
だから安心して私の後
would make things more dangerous for yourself as well.
一緒に魔女をやっつけよう。危険は承知の上なんだね。私バカだから一人だと無茶なデタラメやらかしかねないし、マドカもいるんだって肝に銘じてればそれだけ慎重になれると思う。そっか、考えがあってのことならいいんだ。キューブ、君にも君の考えがあるんだろ、マドカ。さやかを守りたい君の気持ちはわかる。
Remember,
君が隣にいてくれるだけで
TLB says, I can't pressure you into making a choice, and then is constantly pressuring her into a choice.
今は何も言わなくていい。さやかもきっと反対するだろうし。ただ、もし君が心を決める時が来たら、僕の準備はいつでも整ってるからね。
I'm hoping Madoka does be pragmatic about the wish, like I kept saying before, that she is waiting to use the wish when there's nothing left but a wish to save them.
この結界は多分魔女じゃなくて使い魔のものだね。楽に越したことないの。落ちたらまだ初心者なんだし、油断は禁物だよ。分かってる。
I wish we could see what a familiar was. 'Cause, you know, the same way that the witches don't look like people, but they're supposed to be people, that we can see what a familiar really is when it's not hidden away by this. And that super in love that it was crying while it was running away.
見てわかんないの？あれ魔女じゃなくて使い魔だよ。グリフシードを持ってるわけないじゃん。だってあれほっといたら誰かが殺されるのよ。だからさ、4、5人ばかり食って魔女になるまで待てっての。そうすりゃちゃんとグリフシードも絡むんだから
Oh, here we go.
あんた卵産む前の鶏閉めてどうすんのさ。魔女に襲われる人たちを
Game in the system.
するっていうの？あんたさ、なんか大元から勘違いしてんじゃない？食物連鎖って知ってる？学校で習ったよね。弱い人間を魔女が食う、その魔女を私たちが食う。これが当たり前のルールでしょ。そういう強さの順番なんだから。
She's one of those vampires should rule the world sort of people.
まさかとは思うけど、やれ人助けだの正義だの、その手のおちゃらけた冗談かますためにあいつと契約したわけじゃないよね。あんただったらなんだって言うのよ。ちょっとさ、やめてくれない？
Yeah, she ain't budging. But at the same time, I don't... Maybe the absorption of grief seeds gives you more power?
遊び半分で首突っ込まれるのってさ、ほんとムカつくんだわ。トシロがちった頭冷やせっての。
And Madoka is just here to witness her friend getting the crap beaten out of her.
彼女は癒しの祈りを契約にして魔法少女になったからね。ダメージの回復力は人一倍だ。誰が
So your powers are based on what you wished for.
うぜえ。超うぜえ。つうか何？そもそも口の利き方がなってないよね。先輩に向かってさ。黙れ！
does kind of feel like a Bleach fight. One of those early Sarate arc fights.
言って聞かせてわからねえ。殴ってもわからねえバカとなりゃ。あとは殺しちゃうしかないよね。負けない。負けるのだ。
I mean, I am legit waiting for this to go super dark, and for Madoka to lose just another friend back to back.
どうしてねえどうして魔女じゃないのにどうして味方同士で戦わなきゃならないのどうしようもないお互い譲る気なんてまるでないよ
Man, I guess Akemi could show up here.
やめさせてこんなのってないよ僕にはどうしようもないでもどうしても力ずくでも止めたいのなら
Fucking Kyobi. Predator.
あの戦いに割り込むには同じ魔法少女でなきゃダメだでも君にならその資格がある本当にそれを望むならねそうだ
Now is when Akemi should show up to prevent Madoka from making a contract.
終わりだよ私それには及ばないわ
There we go. That's my girl. I mean, literally, I think I'm drawn as her. Sort of. Wait. God damn it. Sorry, that was... I was hyped for that moment to the point that I forgot how much episode had already passed. So, I had no conception that the fight was going to dead end here into a cliffhanger. I thought that legit we were going to at least get a how dare you attack her, she overpowers her because she's better magical girl for some reason, and then she runs away, and that would be where the cliffhanger happened. But I'm guessing that we're going to get a longer fight, and or a longer confrontation, rather. I guess I've just been wrong, because what I expected to happen was obviously Sayaka was going to die, Madoka would witness another friend dying, and that this would then call back to Akemi's note from the first episode that continue being yourself or the person that you are, otherwise you're going to lose everybody that you care about. Now, I guess granted, if she doesn't make a contract, then for Akemi to be right, she just then... Well, for Akemi to be right, if she never makes a contract, she shouldn't lose anybody, right?
さやかちゃんは魔女をやっつけるために魔法少女になったんでしょあの子は魔女じゃない同じ魔法少女なんだよこんなの絶対おかしいよ
Can't really pull anything from those art images for the next time on. But I'm still remembering back to when Lord Humongous showed up, who was a character from the second Mad Max movie. And then nothing in that episode had anything to do with Lord Humongous. I mean, unless maybe he was hidden in the background somewhere. But I definitely do not recall that. There was also hidden between two of them, a little face popping up from the stuff, which I'm guessing is going to be the familiar. Speaking of which, she brings out that a familiar only needs to eat 4 or 5 people to become a witch themselves. Now, does that imply that a familiar is where witches come from, or do witches spawn familiars, and then the familiars become other witches? Or is it what my previous thought was, which was that when Kyobi grants a wish, he turns you into 2 different people, or splits you into 2 different people. And maybe that shadow thing that comes off of you is a familiar, I guess I'm just trying to think about how witches propagate, because there's always got to be more witches out there than magical girls. Otherwise, it would be, all the magical girls kill one witch, not one, one witch apiece, and then fight about whatever witches are left. I don't know. It just doesn't seem to me to be a way that this could be a continuing thing if every magical girl creates one familiar or one witch. It's either that or there's so many witches propagating from like the first magical girl not doing anything about stuff to then create the situation as it is. It just seems like a very hard equilibrium to maintain, especially from Kyobi's end, if Kyobi is then trying to make all of this happen, which I believe to be the case. Otherwise, yeah, it wasn't a bad episode. I guess my only concern here is that the twists I keep expecting to happen are not happening anymore. Or I don't even know if they've ever happened. Like, literally, I'm just making a lot of guesses and then assuming my guesses were going to be right. If this is like a standard or a more standard magical girl anime, to which I wouldn't really know. I haven't really watched that many magical girl animes. Then I don't really know what to expect. Otherwise, yeah, I think that's going to be it for right now. There may be more that I'll obviously pick up on the next time, which means there'll be more notes to go over. Until then, though, I think that's going to be it for right now. So, once again, I have been Theta. This has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?